Hello everyone, SiegeLink here, back with a little bit of a different video here. I am actually going to be recording a replay of, as you can see, Company of Heroes 2. Now, for those of you who don't know what Company of Heroes 2 is, it's basically just like a World War II simulator in the format of an RTS, but it's kind of like a mixture between an RTS game and sort of like a King of the Hill game, where basically the way you have to get resources is by capping certain points that you can see on the map here. It's a really interesting game. I just don't play it enough to get good at it, especially because there's kind of a cheap tactic that a bunch of people at low levels use, which is just to spam machine guns. So I actually did that this game because I was having a lot of trouble because usually the way to counter that is by using snipers, but for whatever reason my snipers kept on getting killed even though like they were like nowhere close to people. It was really annoying. Yeah, especially on this map, it's not quite as good because of this. But generally speaking, I will veto maps that have the least amount of buildings because machine guns plus buildings is super annoying. Yeah, just spamming like machine guns and mortars is like pretty much impossible to beat early on, especially if you don't play the game much. Yeah, so these points, as you can see, they give you two different things. This down here is like your manpower, and you just get this continually. You don't actually need resources for that, and every unit costs that thing, which is manpower. Actually, this is overall manpower. This is what you need to get manpower, pretty much. Then you have two other things. There's ammunition, so a lot of like abilities. Let's see if I can get a. So like there's like Molotov cocktail. There's an anti-tank grenade. All these require ammunition to use. So that's like you can think of that like your mana. And then there's your gas, and that's what you need to get vehicles. So all of these points here you see on the map, they will give you 5 ammunition, 3 gas, and then there's ammunition points and gas points. Gas points will give you 7 gas, and ammunition points will give you 11. Then there are 3, pretty much always 3, sometimes more, but never less than 3 victory points. This is the way you actually win the game. This is sort of like the game timer. There's no like actual game timer. It's not like you have to win in like within an hour, but the VPs act as the game timer. So, kind of similar to how tasks act as the game timer in Among Us. Like once the crewmates finish all their tasks, they win. In this game, um, as long as you have 2 of the 3 victory points, your opponent's victory points will slowly start to decrease. And if you have triple cap, if you have 3 of them, they'll decrease very quickly. So currently I've got a machine gun pinning this guy down, which he actually completely forgot about. Oh, he did actually retreat there, but take that back. Get those guys pinned very quickly, got veterancy. So this game, the experience is called veterancy. And as you can expect, just like with all other types of experience, the more experience you have, the more powerful your guys are. This is especially important for vehicles. Yeah, you can see the whole radius here. And this radius is, I think, the same with, I think it's a tiny bit, like, wider, I think. Yeah, you can see with, like, the buildings, you can, like, swap it around. There's, like, 4 directions based off of which building. He's going to throw a Molotov in the building. The building's not going to get destroyed because of it, but it will force me to retreat my guys out of there. Because I swapped out guys a bit late. It also takes a long time for them to actually retreat. It actually looks like he put it down and then pulled them back up again, which is weird. Now here are my Grenadiers. These are kind of like the basic German units, and then the conscripts are the basic Soviet units. Kind of an interesting thing about this game is that there's, well, 2 interesting things. First of all, you can never actually fight allies versus allies or Axis versus Axis. But not only that, there's 2 German factions, and there's no Italian or Japanese faction. The only Axis factions you can play are both Japanese, which is weird. And there's 3 allies: the U.S., the U.K., and the Soviets. There's the OKW which is a very odd name I can't pronounce. And then there's the Wehrmacht. And I'm playing as the Wehrmacht, which some people also call the Austere. Yeah, this is the one thing I will say I dislike about this map. This is a decent map, arguably the best map in the game, but this I really dislike. The fact that this center victory point covers this whole road. I feel like this part of the road here and down, like this whole area should be held by this point here. Because the fact that that this alone, like capturing this single one, cuts off this entire area here, it doesn't really make sense to me. They were able to uncap but not cap themselves that victory point. And yeah, just very early, I was able to not lose any of my machine guns and take out a lot of his guys real quick. And also get a vehicle. This is called a half-track. There's a lot of different variations of half-track in this game. Half-track pretty much means like a kind of like a mixture between like a scout car and a truck, pretty much. And I actually have never gone for this doctrine before. In fact, I didn't even use either of these this entire game because like I said, I just never really used it before. But I decided to do this because I'm like, you know what, let's just get this, because the reason you get this is that it's a very, very weak half track, but you can get it very, very quickly. To the point where even like machine gun fire can actually take it down quite a lot. Where generally speaking, like normal guns fire does very little to half tracks, or any vehicle for that matter. Especially tanks. Yeah, these guys are pinned. The red thing is pinned, and the yellow is like partially pinned, I guess. I don't know the exact terms. Yeah, the thing I dislike is that, as you can see, they're just not even shooting back. And they were pinned the very second they walked into machine gun fire. And that's something I think is just not right. Because as you can see, I'm easily taking control of the entire map. They have 2 points, and I've got double gas, double ammunition, and nearly triple VPs here. And I've got a vehicle. I'm starting to get up to tier 2. This is where you get the actual half tracks as well as a scout car and one other vehicle that I never get. I'm actually not certain what it is. Oh, anti-tank gun, okay. Yeah, the anti-tank guns are like slower, more powerful machine guns pretty much. Like, as you can kind of assume, they're like static, and instead of shooting like a lot of small shots, they shoot one big shot every now and again, and they're a lot slower and don't have as wide of reach. It only goes to about like here or so. So they're not really reliable against tanks because tanks are generally very maneuverable. So I personally just don't like them that much, but if you use them, if you're really good at this game, you definitely can use them. Now here's probably one of, if not the best half track in the game. I haven't played enough to know like all the half tracks, but the reason for this is because originally you can see there's a turn in front and turn in the back, but this has flame projectors, which means that you can just sort of run forward and run back, and you have 2 giant flamethrowers on each side that can do a lot of work against infantry. Like usual, but like all half tracks, they're pretty bad against like tanks and stuff. But against infantry, they'll just burn them alive. Like the second that you run to a half track, you need to run away immediately once it has flame projectors. Now that closes, and then these guys are burning up. These guys, it actually doesn't like burn them initially, but like standing in the fire does damage, kind of like poison damage. So it's chasing them down. Almost got a kill on a comp script there. But this guy's engine's almost dead, and I'm honestly really lucky I got him out. But yeah, this mortar has been really good for him. I don't think I got one there. Yeah, now he's going for an anti-tank gun. I'm just going to call them packs, I think. Yeah, mortar, single machine gun, triple conscript, and pack gun. Which is actually decent against what I have. I only have 2 grenadiers, 2 machine guns, one of which is at my base. But yeah, the second I knew that he had a mortar team, I wanted to get a mortar team myself. even the mortar can kind of just be sort of like an actual threat. It doesn't actually really do much unless you have vision of something. Yeah. When I knew that, I knew he had some kind of tank or something. I expected he had a T-70, which is the Soviet light tank, but it was actually just an anti-tank gun. A little veterancy on that. Yeah, still have him here, so this just completely locks down this section here, and this VP for that matter. You have to go around, and even then you can swap position a bit. He was able to take on the half-track very well there. Just out of range of the machine gun here. He does have vision of this, though, so I'm forced to run out of here. But I've got a mortar team over here. One of the things I actually did kind of poorly this game is I kept my mortars a little bit too defensive. Because mortars you want to keep back because they have no defense whatsoever for themselves. They're just supposed to outrange people. But I always want to keep them in cover as well, so that they're not easily seen. But it would have been better for me to put them like here or here. Because he wasn't really attacking from here, he was only attacking from the middle. And I actually did something I very rarely do, which is rebuild a half-track. Rebuilding any vehicles, for that matter, other than like a Panzer IV, I rarely do. Because, generally speaking, I'm like, if I lost a vehicle, I probably lost it because it wasn't really the right choice to go for. Or it's just like, if I lost it because of bad micro, then I'm likely going to micro it bad again. But I lost both my half-tracks, but I got another one coming. And because of the double ammunition, getting flame projectors twice is easy. And I had this machine gun here for a long time, then I brought it back. Also got a machine gun gunner here. These guys aren't actually even shooting. But even if they take one VP, they've only got 200 and they're still going to trickle down. They have to take 2 VPs in order to not only not trickle down, but start to trickle me down. Oh, no. What the? Is this dude doing a T-pose? Is this... I watched this replay like 2 or 3 times and I did not notice that. And then they just disappeared. That was a ghost doing a T-pose. Wow. That was wacky. It treats with everyone there. Yeah, it didn't run that guy out of there. He was under constant mortar fire. That was actually pretty bad for me, because now I have no machine guns, and he has a machine gun and an anti-tank gun, and all I've got is a half-track. So I've got to maneuver around him very well. The biggest thing, usually I would be behind here by quite a bit, but because I have like over twice the amount of VPs, and I still have a triple cap going here, or at least double cap, I thought I had a guy in there. It means that, like I said, the VPs act as sort of a timer. If the VPs go to 0, you lose the game. So I'm at near max. I'm at near my starting, which is 500, and he's almost at 150. So it basically forces him to make a move at some point. Not only that, but I just have so many more resources. So even if I do, like, even if he does trade a lot better than me, I'm still going to be ahead. It's kind of like a common thing, especially with, like, Zerg and StarCraft 2, where, like, it doesn't matter if, like, you lose, like, 100 army supply and kill, like, if you lose 100 army supply and they lose, like, 50 army supply, it doesn't matter if you have, like, 30, 40 more workers in them, because you can just rebuild all that easily. And they can, if they have way less economy. That mortar and the anti-tank gun and the machine gun, very hard to really push against them. Just gotta play defensive and split my guys up. Kind of like splitting versus Banelings. He's also got some shock troops, which I didn't know this, but apparently they're insanely good in melee, like far better than Grenadiers. Because I've had one of these like shred. Like at one point in this game, I think I sent both these guys over here, and they got shredded by the shock group. It was absurd. Got a mortar. Was able to kill that. these guys were low. So I killed anti-tank gun in exchange for losing machine gun. And I've still got a mortar here. So, kind of equal trades right now. My pioneers or engineers are repairing this half track. Mortar team barely lived there. Important because they have NRC on them too. So, I didn't actually show you, but this is tier 3, and this is a tier 2 building. I clicked S, which is what you click for this, and I clicked it here, and even saw the hologram for it, and then for some reason that built this building, for no reason, which really, really annoyed me. But here you can build a Stug, which is basically just kind of like worse Panzer, to some extent. And this gun is what I actually ended up building this game. This is effective versus aircraft, which there's very few things that have aircraft in this game, but it does come up every now and again. But it's very, very good versus infantry, because it has sort of like, it's kind of like a fast, it's kind of like a mixture between like a machine gun and a tank shot. It's like very fast and like a lot weaker than a Panzer shot, for example, but like it's very, very fast. Not as like machine gun fast, but it's like poof, 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 poof. You'll see it a little later. But I decided to go for a Panzer, even though a whatever you call this, flank Panzer would be better, because I expect him at some point, even though he's not really getting any gas, he is very, very, very slowly, like, kind of starting to get up gas-wise, because he does have a few points here. So at some point, I expect him to get a T-70 out. Yes, T-70 70 gas, and as you can see, he has 69 gas. So it takes a long, because he has so few victory points, it takes a long time to get gas, because gas is only 3 per point, and he's only had like 1 or 2 this whole game. Yeah, you really want to cap that. The victory point so it wasn't so low, and gas so they could start getting a T-70 up. It's half-track transport, basically just a basic half-track, but you can have 2 infantry squads for very quick. And the thing I actually really like about that is that you can't actually cap these points with vehicles, but you have to do it with infantry. So here's Panther 4. But if you actually have units in the half-track, then you can cap buildings with the vehicle, because the infantry's in the vehicles. Yeah, but this is what I was talking about. The anti-tank guns don't really do anything with panzers and stuff, like, by themselves. You need something to be able to threaten to push them away, because otherwise you can just kind of walk around them very easily. Yeah, originally I was going to move my guys over here to take this, but I knew I needed to get one of my engineers over here, because I can see he has a lot of guys over here, so I can cap these points and protect these guys with my panzers, while also recapping these things. Just hoping he doesn't have a machine gun here. Because even if I can just double cap him for a little bit, he'll go below 100, and I'm still not even at 400 yet. 420 to 103, very, very good for me here. Like, even though he has probably a better army overall compared to me right now, maybe about equal with the Panzer now, like, me triple capping him and getting all these resources, it just means that even if he takes out a lot of stuff, it's just, he's just so far behind. He's the one that has to make the move. I can play defensive, he has to play aggressive. He has to make something happen, otherwise he's going to lose to BPs. He got an anti-tank grenade off me there, but he lost the squad for it. That also had Veteracy on it, which was really bad for him. I had engineers capping over here, so I was able to cap over here while I'll be able to repair. He does have 2 anti-tank guns now. And he actually had a lot of gas for quite a while. I'm surprised he didn't make a T-70 earlier. I think what he might have done was he wanted to make a T-70, but then he saw the Panzer, it was like, it's not worth it. But honestly, with how little gas you have, you gotta do what you can with the gas. And honestly, a T-70 plus 2 anti-tank guns, that can take down a Panzer. It's only 1 Panzer and a half-track. So, I mean, T-70 and two anti-tank guns has a much better chance of taking down a Panzer than just two anti-tank guns. As you saw, I just was able to move right around it. Yeah, so what I tried to do there was cap it and then retreat. But what I didn't actually know is that you can't cap while retreating. So I was, because basically what I did was I left it to like 1 second, so then when they were retreating they would also cap it. But apparently that's not a thing in this game, which is actually kind of smart. I do like that. And then these ones here are Panzer Grenadiers, and basically they're the same as Grenadiers, except you can upgrade them with special anti-tank guns, bazookas specifically. Yeah. Over here I got surprised by over here, and then I had to walk all the way around here, and kind of just hope that he was, that he would be kind of down here. But yeah, it was really hard for my Panzer to get out of that situation. But now that I've noticed that he still has not gone for any form of tank, I decided to get this, because this is just flat out better than the Panzer IV. In this scenario, it's, at least in my opinion, the reason I went for the Panzer IV was as like an insurance policy, because it kind of does the same thing that this does, but it also, like if a T-70 comes out, which I expected, then I can easily deal with the T-70 as well, where the T-70 might be able to beat this in a fight. Yeah, just now he's at 53 points and just getting the double cap now, because he really needs it. And like I said, he has to be the one to go with the aggressive. All of his guys are healthier. He should have moved down the map earlier. Especially this right here. Like, this is so close, and I've not been there, like, the whole game. He could have easily capped that. Especially with, like, with the mortars. Like, set up your mortars here. The big reason I just kind of wanted to record this video, kind of out of nowhere, was because this is the first actual 1v1 game I've ever won, and I wanted to, and you can't actually save replays in this game. You can save like 1 or 2 replays at a time, and then eventually they'll just go away. It's a very stupid rankings, saving system. Yeah, this is what it looks like. As you can see, it shot like once every second pretty much, or once, kind of like once every like 0.8 seconds or so. Yeah, those bazookas are pretty decent against tanks. If you got 2 of them, it's very hard for tanks to move in properly. Yeah, given his VPs, he was just playing too defensive this game. Especially with the anti-tank guns. I mean, I can't really blame him. Like I said, anti-tank guns alone just don't do it. And yet now he's getting a T-70. Even though he has enough gas to get 2 T-70s. Perhaps that was his plan, but I mean, it's just kind of too late for him. He's under 50 now. Yeah, as you can see, he's got double shock troops, double conscripts, and an engineer as like his overall like main infantry. I've got 2 engineers, a grenadier, a panzer grenadier, and that's it. He has machine gun and 2 pack guns. I've got nothing in that category. I've got veteran 3 mortar. He's got a veteran 2 mortar, and I've got a panzer that I lost, a half track that I lost, 2 half tracks I actually lost. Remade a half track and then made this. Got both of them alive, and now he has a T-70, which is actually kind of good against the vehicles I have. And he still has the anti-tank guns. Yeah, as you can see, it's a little less wide. And pretty much immediately lost that to 2 stacked up anti-tank guns here. But the thing is, even then, he's just playing too defensive. Like, he's got 1 VP here, and I'm easily uncapping this. Because he's moving all of his guys in one area. Like, he's have half his army as base, and the other half on the field. Like, especially now that he had T-70 and he killed that gun, he really should have pushed. Because now he actually has a vehicle advantage, and that's basically the only advantage I had with the vehicle advantage. So he easily could have pushed, taken this, taken the VPs. I mean, he needs to take the VPs. But he wasn't. And look, he's got double conscripts, double shock troops. Like, this is the big thing here. He moves double shock troops. He really should have either brought those with the conscripts and the engineer, or moved these guys over here to split my forces up. Because right now it's a big brutal fight, you know. We're both trading, you know, very badly. We're both, you know, getting beaten, bloodied, and bruised here. But this is better for me because I have all the VP control. He doesn't. Like, imagine that fight if the conscripts were here. Or if he had moved these guys over here where I've got nothing defending. In fact, I don't think he's even gone to this, like, the entire game for the most part. Yeah, and now he's doing this, like I said, but he's doing it after the shock troops lost their fight. And now the T-70 is looking for guys, but there's no one over here because my guys all retreated. I see T-70 and 2 anti-tank guns, and I'm just going the other way. Machine gun fire a little bit from this emplacement, but that's alright. And actually, did he even have... Yeah, he didn't even have a medic bunker over here. Yeah, I've also got another Panzer on the field, and this was pretty much the nail in the coffin for him. He's got a T-70, and the only way a T-70 can be a Panzer is with anti-tank support. And I ended up fighting him around this area here. Now look at this. If he clicked any closer to the bottom, he wouldn't have even capped that VP, and he wouldn't have lived here. Because he caps double VP right at 3. And yeah, so the T-70's over here threatening my mortar. But then here comes my Panzer IV. Newly made Panzer IV. I've made... Like, I have better vehicles. I have a better vehicle than him, and 2 vehicles to his 1, despite the fact that I've lost like 4 vehicles this game, because I've just capped the whole map already, and he's played a bit too defensive. Not to mention, he didn't even like spam machine guns. Like, there wasn't even a reason to to play defensive. Like, these units are for like maneuvering around, and he didn't do that at all this game. Yeah, weakened engine, but with all this support, there's no real threat here. And now we got this cap over here, which was a very crucial time for him as well, for 2 reasons. First of all, I had my guys over here were about to cap, and if I get a double cap even for just like 5 seconds, that's game. But also because he really, when you're this far behind, you really need to get a triple cap. Like, a triple cap's like the only way you can really win from being this far behind. Like 350 to 3. Like, 2 victory points, it will slowly but surely go down, but the second you lose it, you're immediately dead. So he has to hold this, he has to hold 2 victory points for like, I don't even know, like 10 minutes or something. Like, a very long amount of time. But if you have 3 VPs, those go down very quickly. So if he can get a triple cap, even for like 1 minute, that can get down like 75 points. Like, in 1 minute. Like, very, very quickly. And that's the type of thing he needed. Like, this is when he needed to stay alive, but to win the game, he needed a triple cap to really sort of put the pressure on me and force me to do something. I was able to cut off... He was able to cut off this area here and eventually kill my mortar. And this, sure, this has been cut off for a long time, but I don't need these resources. I've still got way more than him. And on top of that, like, he's never capped it back, even though he easily could have. So yeah, I've got an Ostwind, half-track, and a Panzer IV. So triple vehicles down to 0. Rush in with a half-track. Just maneuver around. He retreated kind of early, I think. Especially since, don't they have something that's anti-tank? I think they do. Can't select them because they're retreating, which is odd. These guys are turned backwards, both of them, which is kind of odd. You can also take a look at the Fog of War if you want. So I could have used like these a lot of game. I think at one point I did eventually use this because like, might as well see what it does. But yeah, I think it was actually right here. I attacked with this, but his guys ended up retreating, I think. Yeah, so right there, I used that up, not expecting his guys to retreat. Because when you retreat, you're like much faster. Yeah, one way or another, it's still doing very good for me. Because I've got all my guys up here. Because the thing is, I can be a bit more risky. And I can make plays that might otherwise be bad. Like here, I'm just sending all my guys up because I don't care if I lose all these guys as long as I take a VP. If I take a VP, there's no way that he can take a back from me without losing. He has to hold on to both VPs for the whole game. So all I have to do is distract him for long enough until I can take this and take this. And I was actually very late on that, which is bad for me. Getting out some more infantry near the end. Yeah, cap this place. Just constantly keep on capping him. I didn't care whatsoever that this place was cut off by this because, yeah, as you can see, he GG's the second he sees I'm about to get this, and he's just nowhere close to being able to get it. Because even if he takes this VP here, he'll lose his points too quickly because he's double capped right now, and as you can see, about 5 seconds he lost two points. So last second into the game, I decided to just rush in with all my vehicles, just as sort of a last little like bonsai, like celebration for the game. But that game was really fun, and I won it pretty handily there. He was playing very defensive and didn't even make that many machine guns, which he really should have if he was going to play like that. But even though it might have seemed like I had a much worse overall army, I was able to beat him simply because I was triple capping him for so long, and just he was never able to get any of my VPs down, and I trickled down his VPs at a very rapid rate. But I hope you all enjoyed. I'm not even really doing this so much for YouTube purposes, just so that I have a video that I can look back at this replay, because the replays don't save for long on Company of Heroes 2. So if you didn't enjoy this, that's fine. It's mostly just for my viewing purposes. But if you did, feel free to like the video and maybe even ask for more Company of Heroes 2, even though I really don't like playing this game that much, honestly. So, see you guys in the next video, and maybe Company of Heroes 2 again sometime.